we talk about the mountain horse, one of the important elements of the mountain horse is its natural gait. Without that natural gait, the mountain horse really isn't what we think of it as a pleasure horse. Now, here are all four of the gaits on the screen at the same time. These horses are being ridden in real time, so now it's your turn to make the comparison so you can see the length of stride, the elevation, the differences in the head set, and the impulsion. They are four distinct different ways of going. It is important for judges and exhibitors alike to understand that there's got to be a standard or criteria for placing in-hand horses. We must remember that a judge only spends somewhere between 30 and 45 seconds looking at these in-hand horses, so it becomes vital that the judge have a system from which to operate so that all the horses are evaluated equally and fairly. That's what the objective part of this whole process is about, is maintaining the fairness in our show ring. From time to time, judges are faulted for not evaluating each horse on an equal basis. That means that they don't walk completely around a horse, or they only casually look at a horse for a few seconds, as if they've made their determination that the horse doesn't merit any further examination. This sends the wrong message to the exhibitor. So therefore, judges, be sure you treat all horses equal using a system of assessment as we've described here. One of the many versatile aspects of the mountain horse is the Western Pleasure class. And as we watch the Western Pleasure classes, we are reminded of the gaits that the horse must perform to satisfy the requirements for the class. We also must remember that this is about the horse. Even though the riders are dressed in different attire, dressed as you would expect someone to be showing in any type of Western Pleasure class, with the Western saddle, a Western headstall, reins, and bit, the horse is the focus of this class and how the horse performs the three natural gaits. Within the UMH rules, there are two separate divisions for driving. One is the fine harness class, and the other is the pleasure driving class. They are very distinctly different classes. So now let's take a closer look at the driving horse. As we see the horse, we will be putting it in real time, and then we'll also be slow-moing the horse so that you can compare it with the background. And we'll be talking about the amount of elevation, flexation of the knee and hock, as well as the length of stride. So now let's talk about transitions. It's not universally understood, but transitions from a faster to slower gait or a slower to faster gait are definitely important for the exhibitor to consider because they are being judged during those phases of the work on the rail. This horse is asked to drop down to a walk, and that horse does it in less than a full stride. Head and neck position drops downward on a loose rein, moving forward, bright, ears forward, and this horse is absolutely spot on, as they say. This horse could not do this any better. Really, really like this. This is a very important image for you to get in your mind when you see a horse do a downward transition like this, either as an exhibitor or as a judge. This horse needs to be rewarded for this type of transition. At the conclusion of the rail work, the horses are all asked to come to the center of the ring and line up side by side. It's during this phase of the class, or the evaluation process by the judge, that the horses are asked to back individually. Here are two more examples of the back. We'll notice the horse on the right is asked to back. Does not really resist. The horse does drop his head down a little bit lower than I'd like to see, but he does move back smoothly. Then we compare that to the horse on the left, who definitely has dropped his head, is flexed at the pole, perhaps even overflexed at the pole. We're not going to see that quite as easily from this position, and we'll show you in a minute this horse is performing the back at the side view, and you'll see that these horses are definitely changing their profile substantially when they're backing. Manners, willingness, training, and response to the rider. That's what we really need to keep our eyes on. The trail obstacle class should be designed to replicate obstacles and challenges found on the trail, testing the skills and training of the horse and rider. The trail obstacle class also provides an opportunity for those riders that are not focusing on show ring competition, but allow their horses to come to the show and compete with skills and training that they have acquired through trail riding. Here's an example of a score sheet that I recently used at a show, and you will notice that there are a number of differences in the performances of the horses, so that the total scores themselves are quite different. We've put together 11 individual obstacles for you to view and score, so let's see how you do. Moving on to the second horse, the horse approaches the bridge very quietly, much like our demo horse did, walks up the ramp, stands very, very quietly at the top of the bridge, and at the urging of the rider, the horse moves off at a walk. We have no penalty score for this particular exhibitor, and we have a maneuver score of a plus 1.5, probably the best we could expect of any horse to perform that. So let's summarize this class. It was a two-pair class. We started it with the number 2 horse, followed by 3, 4, and 1. It was a two-pair class in that we had 2 horses, number 2 and 3, that had no penalty scores, and they actually had plus positive scores that were quite good.